It is time for our nursing tip of the week, and in this week's tip, we're talking about code blue etiquette. As an ICU nurse who also does charge nursing, I have been to my fair share of code blues and I have seen things that work and that don't work, and I want to share them with you. The biggest mistake I see in codes is that there are way too many people in the room, and this causes confusion with communication. It gets too clustered. People can get confused of what their roles are, and I just think having too many people in the room is not the best idea. In my video, a couple videos back, I talked about code roles, and there should only be about 8-ish people total in the room for a code blue, and everybody else can wait outside of the room. One thing that's super helpful for code blues is identifying which role the people in the room are good at, sticking with that role so that way everybody has a place and a responsibility. Next helpful tip I'm going to talk about is closed loop communication. I know we hear this term thrown out there all the time when we're doing our BLS and ACLS, but truly it is the best thing to do. And what closed loop communication is like if I say giving 1 amp of epi, the person that's recording is going to verbally repeat that, giving 1 amp of epi. This helps prevent errors with communication. So for example, if I said giving 1 amp of epi and then another person said giving 1 amp of bicarb, we can help correct that immediately so we don't make any mistakes. The next thing is make sure you're using one universal clock for recording. So whether that's the wall clock or your phone or a watch, the person that's recording needs to be using the same clock so that way the times are accurate. I also really like this app. This is called Code Scribe, and this helps you keep track of all of the things that are in a code. So if you're doing CPR, if you're giving epi, when you shocked, the different meds, and it'll record right here the times and what event is being recorded. This obviously isn't like in a patient's medical record. You still need to be documenting per your code sheet, but it is nice to reference in case things get chaotic and you need to go back and add things to the actual paper record. The last thing I'm going to talk about for code etiquette is make sure someone calls the family. If the family is not present, sometimes I think things get really chaotic and we can forget even the most basic things sometimes. And so always have someone call the family immediately whenever a patient codes, whether that's a provider, whether that's a nurse, the chaplain, the social worker. If you want a video on how I would call someone and like relay this information in the best way you possibly can, let me know. Other than that, that is your tip of the week. Let me know if you have any questions.